Hi, I'm Taylor with Mom on the Spectrum, and in this video, I'm going to tackle the question, is TikTok brainwashing me into thinking I'm autistic, or could there actually be something to this? Now, if you found yourself asking this question, let me know in the comments what your aha moment was when you started thinking, wait, wait, when your world kind of stops and you're like, for a lot of people, I've heard, they realize that they've been toe walkers all their life and they realize that was an autistic thing. For other people, they realized that they had a secret stem, like scrunching their toes in their shoes because nobody else could see it. I always catch somebody on that when you're watching. So let me know because I love learning about everybody's aha moments. They're always very unique and enlightening. Like I said, I'm Taylor. I'm 35. I was professionally diagnosed as autistic when I was 31. And after that realization, it totally changed my life. I found so much more self-compassion. I finally felt like I wasn't broken, and it really helped me find a lot of healing in my life. So I started my channel to help other adults who were on the same journey. I'd love it if you would subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest information and resources that I create. Speaking of that, I have a free ultimate guide to understanding autism that might be helpful to you if you are kind of on this journey of, I don't really know if I'm autistic or not. It's a free guide I've put together with 40 of the most commonly used terms within our autistic community. I've defined them in a simple, easy to understand format, and it's colorful too, because I like colors. So if that sounds like something that might be helpful to you, the link is in the description. That being said, let's talk about this question of, is TikTok brainwashing me? Okay, so say what you will about the algorithm, it's very effective. And what you focus on, you create more of. This is like a mindfulness principle that I actually really appreciate and have seen to be true in my life. The things that you spend the most time doing and thinking about, you're going to get more of those things in your life, right? If you want to plant a watermelon garden and you spend time researching that and preparing your garden and planting the seed and watering it, you're eventually going to get a watermelon. Okay. It also works for negative things. I don't know, some of you may have noticed, like, if you kind of are maybe a hypochondriac like me sometimes, and you think, oh my gosh, there's a weird random pain in my body, and you start researching it on WebMD, and then all of a sudden you're like, are there more things hurting? Am I sick? Sometimes it creates more of that feeling of anxiety and unrest, right? So the things that we focus on, we create more of. Well, this is seen so acutely with the algorithm across all social media platforms, but especially TikTok. It's amazing at it. So you might have started getting autism content based off of something you liked that was very remotely related to autism. Maybe you liked the fashion of an autistic content creator and didn't even know they were autistic, and you started, liking their stuff. You might have liked something based off of ADHD content if you've resonated with ADHD stuff, and it kind of slowly just starts dripping other forms of information in there. Consider that things on TikTok that you don't resonate with, you scroll quickly past, right? If you get a video that's not for you, you're just like, oh, why am I seeing that, right? But stuff that you engage with and resonate with, be mindful about that. You don't necessarily have to understand why you're spending so much time consuming this autistic content or neurodivergent content, but just stay curious about it. Why am I resonating with this content so much? Why am I spending so much time thinking about it? What would it add to my life if this were true? How would it improve the way I'm able to navigate the world around me? Now, my eyes were open to being on the autism spectrum before TikTok was even a part of my life. I was just like out there in a TikTokless world in like 2019. And I noticed that even though it wasn't a digital algorithm, kind of the algorithm of life was pushing me closer and closer towards finding out that I was autistic. So for example, my son, he had just been born. He was a few months old, and I was realizing that he was a lot different to care for than my daughter. And something set me on this path. I was, as a young parent, I'm trying to figure out all that I can figure out about how to take care of my son. And I found a book called The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine Aron. That was kind of like my first step into the autistic realm, right? The first time I was kind of like, there's something else going on here. Also, around the same time, one of my colleagues mentioned that her daughter had just been diagnosed with autism. And her daughter was very similar to me. We went to school together. She seemed very socially capable and she was very smart and she had like a successful college career. And I started thinking, if she can be autistic, maybe I don't really understand what autism is. So it was all of these little pieces of the puzzle. I also started having these unexplained health issues that I couldn't find any answers for, that now I recognize were stress related, because I didn't have adequate accommodations and support to live my life. So all of these little things just started gradually pushing me towards finding the right information to help me. And so I feel like, again, TikTok is really good at doing this digitally. And the more things you resonate with, the more time you spend learning about those things. TikTok says, okay, well, what about this? And it'll introduce something new. And if you resonate with that, okay, well, what about this? And it's fine tuning things that you spend time wanting to learn more about. And so, in a way, the things that you're seeing are there because you want to see them. And whether or not it's true in the sense that you need an official autism diagnosis, it's true in a sense that it's resonating with you in some capacity. One concern I hear is, why is everybody autistic now? Why are there so many more autistic people than ever before? The problem is not that there's more autistic people than ever before. Part of the problem is people thinking that that's a problem, right? Autism is a unique neurotype. It's a unique way of processing information, of engaging with the world around you. It's not that there's more autistic people than ever per se, but it's that we have more awareness about how prevalent autism is. Really, there are so many people who are autistic. And, not even autistic, but if you want to just say neurodivergent, right? It's very hard to define a neurotypical brain. Like, this is the normal brain, this is what it should look like. It's very hard to define that. So neurodivergency is a very big segment of the population. And the more we learn about it, the better we understand, especially things like autism and how it presents in women. I won't go off on my tangent here, but part of the issue is that historically autism has been studied primarily in terms of how it affects males. All right. So it's kind of an exciting time for autism research for women and minorities, because we're just now coming into a better understanding of how it actually presents outside of the male population. Okay, so it's not that there are more autistic people, and this isn't an alarming thing. The alarming thing is that there's not enough support and validation to help us learn how to accommodate ourselves and to accommodate other autistic people in society. Another concern that I hear is, well, doesn't everybody deal with these things? And the answer is yes, kind of. While some autistic challenges are not unique to our population, the way that we experience them is totally different. We usually experience things in a deeper way, in terms of the amount of overwhelm and stress that it causes us. And it can also take us a lot longer to regulate ourselves. So in the event that we encounter a stressor in our environment, non-autistic or allistic people usually are able to kind of move through that stressor a little more easily, a little more quickly than an autistic person. And so when these stressors compound over time, it really can shut down an autistic person in a way that requires considerable support. I think a lot of people with lower support needs, a lot of autistic people with lower support needs, we get used to living without accommodations and we think, well, other people can do it without that. Other people can do it without headphones. Other people can do it without needing a break, whatever it might be. And it's kind of like learning to live with a pebble in your shoe. And you're like, oh, it's just a pebble. It's not a big deal. But then you take the pebble out and you're like, I could have been living without this pebble my whole life. This is so much better. So just stay curious if this is you and you're thinking, well, doesn't everybody deal with this frustration? Think about how it affects your life, how much recovery time you need when you experience these frustrations, and what your life could look like without this frustration or with more accommodations and support to help you through these frustrations. Okay, so 3 simple things you can do if you find yourself questioning, am I really autistic or is this all in my head? Number 1, you can take some online tests that can give you some more clarification. Now, these tests aren't used to fully diagnose a person to say whether or not you are autistic, but there's a website that I'll put in the description, embrace-autism.com. I love the tests that they have on there. There's a lot of information about how to take them and how to decode the results, what they mean. And also there's another quiz that I love called the Aspie quiz. That's probably my favorite one. And if you just Google the Aspie quiz, you'll find it, but I'll also put a link in the description below. So take a couple of online quizzes or tests. You might be saying, I've already done that. And if you're really autistic, probably yes, you've already very thoroughly researched possible online tests to give you more information. Okay, so number 2, since you've probably already done number 1, I would encourage you to connect with the autistic community online, because the more you hear other autistic people put their experiences into words, the more it's going to help you see if that's something that you are really resonating with, like a real autistic person outside of a 30-second reel, right? Actually someone who's sharing life experiences and someone you can engage with, maybe ask questions. And there's different places to do this online, but I actually have a community that I love. It's on a platform called Circle. If you're familiar with the Circle platform, it's super easy to navigate. And I actually have a 7-day free trial to just see if it's for you. I think right now in July of 2024, there's like over 300 autistic adults in this community, but it's growing really fast. And the resources shared in that group are just amazing. So my advice is to connect yourself to other autistic people, and people who are questioning an autism diagnosis are also welcome in that community. But learning from others' experiences has been the number one way that I've kind of come into myself as an autistic person. And then number 3, take your time. There's no rush. You don't have to figure out right now if you're autistic or what you're going to do with this information. For me, I spent 3 decades of my life not knowing whether or not I was autistic, and it's not a quick change to just be like, okay, I am. Like everything's different. It's like everything's the same, but everything's different. And it just takes a lot of time for things to fall into place. So give yourself grace, give yourself patience. Don't put any pressure on yourself to figure something out definitively. One concern that's popping in my head right now is a lot of people who are on this self-diagnosis journey are really worried about taking the label away from other people who need it more. But again, there's so many autistic people in the world. There's so many different ways that it presents. So worry less about how it affects others and focus on your experience and how resonating with the label of autism and everything that comes with it. At the end of the day, no one else knows what it's like to live your life. No one else knows what it's like to interpret the world through your eyes, through your nervous system. And I'm bringing up more points here, but historically, I've noticed that a lot of autistic people deal with gaslighting and invalidation. So you might find that you're at a point where you're really resonating with this, but you keep gaslighting yourself into thinking, no, this can't be it. People are going to laugh at me. People are going to think that this isn't true. This is your life. And if resonating with a word helps you add value to your life, helps you feel like a better version of yourself, helps you feel more self-compassionate, do it. Right? Life is short, and nobody else gets to tell you how to live your life or how to define your experience. So I hope these things have been helpful to you. Check out the links in the description for my free ultimate guide to understanding autism. Please like this video if it was helpful to you, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.